Out here, the Savanna does not forgive weakness, and the oldest grudge on Earth still hunts in broad daylight. Beneath an unforgiving midday glare, each path carries the scent of dirt, gore, and an impending clash of dominance. Lions bring raw force to that test, while hyenas answer with discipline, nerve, and a teamwork ethic built over generations. This age-old rivalry seems timeless since it constantly revolves around three daily necessities: supremacy, nourishment, and simply staying alive. A lion's roar says this ground is mine, but a hyena clan hears that challenge and moves closer instead of backing off. For this reason, a mighty male equipped with devastating bite force and sudden quickness might appear more like prey than a sovereign. But the hyena queen rules by another formula: pressure from all sides, patience, and the confidence of numbers. That unsettling cackle serves no humorous purpose. Rather, it functions as an intimidating tactic, transforming momentary doubt into lethal peril. Soon, more than 20 spotted hyenas spread through the thermida grass like a storm front, closing every exit. Spinning, striking, and falling back before turning once more, the solitary beast learns that being alone reduces kingship to mere survival. The clan keeps cackling, rushing, and stopping, using noise, dust, and motion to shrink his world by the second. Though courageous, the unrelenting attacks steadily erode his rhythm, lower his morale, and shatter the myth that sheer might guarantees victory. Then the story turns, because another lion appears, and suddenly panic hardens into a plan. The arrival of another fiercely built ally shifts the dynamic entirely, with both lions guarding each other's flanks and standing firm. What looked impossible seconds earlier now feels expensive to the clan, because courage multiplied can blunt superior numbers. Instead of merely defending, the pair begins dominating the area, countering each charge using precision, power, and the icy assurance of teamwork. For the first time, the hyenas hesitate, not from fear alone, but from calculation, because smart hunters know when odds collapse. Pulling back is a strategic maneuver rather than a complete surrender, which is crucial since nothing remains permanently resolved here. The lesson lands hard. Power without support becomes vulnerability, while coordination can challenge greatness and sometimes survive it. Truthfully, neither side reigns permanently, as each confrontation hinges entirely on landscape, opportunity, starvation, pack size, and sheer bravery. One final roar rolls across the plain like a temporary verdict, while somewhere beyond the grass, another challenge is already moving. Here, the grasslands deceive observers by appearing vast and stunning, just before demonstrating to all creatures their true vulnerability in the wild. It is neither jungle nor desert, but a hard, bright arena where predators, prey, and scavengers survive in full view. Unobstructed views generate continuous anxiety since distant actions are easily spotted. But genuine security remains fleeting and never guaranteed. Grasslands spread like a living map, steering migrations, hunts, and territorial patrols while feeding the herbivores that support everything above them. From afar, the landscape looks tranquil, yet any grassy area might suddenly erupt into a pursuit, a surprise attack, or a final struggle. Then migration season arrives, and millions of wildebeests pour across the plains in dark rivers driven more than 1,000 miles by need. These animals seek out water and pasture rather than thrills, pulling the entire ecological network alongside them wherever they migrate. Lions stalk those herds, hyenas shadow them, and scavengers wait coldly for weakness to show itself in the dust. Trees provide salvation in this region as baobab trunks hold moisture, offer shelter, and loom like timeless sentinels during brutal droughts. Acacias matter too, feeding giraffes and giving the open country landmarks in a world that rarely offers cover. As arid conditions worsen, drinking pools transform into the deadliest locations across the flatlands, particularly during severe droughts. Thirst drags herbivores in, while predators and crocodiles raid the same shrinking pools as perfect traps built by nature. Terror, necessity, and opportunity intersect at these spots, demonstrating that life or death frequently hinges on a single, chaotic, dirt-filled moment. The ecosystem depends on giants and small workers alike, from buffalo and elephants reshaping paths to dung beetles rebuilding the soil. Each geographical element influences carnivore conflicts. Clear expanses benefit straightforward clashes, whereas dirt, trees, and wide spacing heavily benefit strategic placement. Scarce water compresses food and access into tighter spaces, making every contest meaner, riskier, and more personal. The wilderness demonstrates that solitary dominance is impossible, since power, velocity, endurance, and collaboration hold value only if the environment permits it. So even when sunlight paints the plains as peaceful, another migration, drought, or gathering at the water can rewrite everything by tomorrow. Such intense competition causes the sprawling grassland to resemble a brutal boxing match rather than a typical natural habitat. Lions and hyenas are built for the same war, chasing the same prey, guarding the same ground, and testing weakness instantly. What appears as a mere fight over scraps is truly a vital contest for rank, territory, and life. Hunger lights the fuse, but control is the real prize. This combat zone is the vast African bush spanning over 5 million square miles across eastern and southern Africa. Its open ground rewards speed and nerve, yet every mistake gets exposed in full view. Any path, dead animal, or drinking spot might transform into disputed territory within moments. Lions arrive with the image of unquestioned dominance, and their bodies sell that image immediately. Mature males are capable of reaching 550 pounds, measuring over 10 feet long and standing roughly 4 feet tall. Before he charges, posture alone can darken the mood and shift the whole battlefield. Even before they attack, their sheer aura causes weaker carnivores to pause, while hunted creatures immediately sense impending doom. Muscular forelimbs, crushing jaws, explosive bursts, and thunderous roars make lions terrifying at close range. Total quiet also benefits them, since a lurking lion forces surrounding wildlife to carefully evaluate their risks. Lions also win through organization, living in prides of roughly 10 to 15 members that multiply protection and coordination. Females execute the bulk of the hunts, forging endurance, precision, and mutual reliance into a synchronized tactical advantage. The pride works like a seasoned team where each role strengthens the whole and no hard lesson gets wasted. Pursuits often start quietly within deep vegetation or tall grass before suddenly accelerating to nearly 50 miles an hour. That attack looks sudden, but it is built on planning, angle, and teamwork. By managing herbivore populations, these lions curb excessive foraging and allow depleted vegetation to naturally heal. Their authority is not only dramatic, it is ecological. Hyenas counter this might through distinct physical adaptations, remaining comparatively compact, yet remarkably resilient and fiercely effective in practice. At around 150 pounds, a spotted hyena still carries one of the savanna's harshest tools, a bite near 100 psi. While lions typically rule by sheer intimidation, hyenas take charge by swarming, overwhelming their targets until sheer panic takes over. That is why hyenas are not mere scavengers trailing stronger hunters around the plains. These capable hunters coordinate, chase, and exhaust massive targets by combining relentless stamina with split-second choices. A clan wins with discipline, noise, movement, and relentless timing instead of royal presence. When large clans converge, their vocal cues and relentless swarming can rattle even the strongest lions. Their laughing calls are not comic at all, but tactical signals that spread confusion and keep momentum alive. Very few creatures possess the ability to turn a confident lion's arrogance into careful hesitation. The feud never cools because their prey overlap can reach about 58.6%. This overlapping diet transforms virtually any fresh kill or chase into a potential violent confrontation. But this hostility runs deeper than food because each clash tests raw force against collective strategy. The lions occasionally assert control, but clever clan teamwork frequently turns the tables in broad daylight. That uncertainty is exactly what makes every encounter feel personal, because both species recognize a true rival. Since neither faction truly respects its rival's authority, their deep-seated bitterness constantly resurfaces. The savanna actually needs that tension because total control by either predator would distort the wider rhythm of survival. Should either group gain total control, foraging levels, scavenging opportunities, and predatory rhythms would completely destabilize. That is why these two remain the perfect opposing leads, turning the grasslands into a living stage where strength and strategy never stop colliding. This iconic reserve seems perfectly idyllic until rustling vegetation abruptly shifts the sanctuary into a dangerous battleground. Here, the lion-hyena war enters a harder arena, wide enough to expose every mistake. Sunlit savannas stretch endlessly outward like an open theater, ensuring virtually every movement is easily witnessed. From a distance it feels calm, but every sunrise opens another fight for control. Sunrise strikes the reserve intensely as beams pierce the woodlands to expose the dark's hidden clues. Tracks mark the dust, scent hangs low, and fresh danger suddenly has a direction. Stampeding hooves echo from the shadows, bird alarm calls ring out, and the wilderness awakens on edge. No animal enters casually, because hunger and thirst are already making decisions. The ecosystem thrives on stark differences, featuring bone-dry grasslands alongside deeply meandering waterways. Relief exists, but scarcity rules, and every creature knows relief can vanish fast. Exposed terrain encourages direct clashes, whereas forested areas conceal sufficient motion to allow for tactical maneuvering. Here, a few yards of shade or exposure can flip confidence into vulnerability. Towering mopanés, reaching nearly 5 stories tall, loom over the sweltering landscape like ancient, silent observers. Their butterfly-shaped leaves give precious shade, but even rest becomes contested survival space. The massive cats strut across the territory like absolute monarchs, demanding the wilderness path before them. They hunt buffalo and zebra with timing, strength, and coordinated pressure. Prior to launching an attack, their sheer proximity can instantly chill the atmosphere near pathways or kills. A carcass can fall silent when they arrive, because fear often reaches the scene first. However, this harsh environment never grants them effortless triumphs, regardless of their incredibly majestic appearance. Dry grass, scarce water, and alert prey hold lions' success near 25 to 30%. Females handle the majority of hunts, converting restraint, geometry, and mutual reliance into their family's true advantage. Males join less often, but when they commit, they bring finishing power fast. Such is the brutal calculation here. Sheer strength is crucial, but perfect execution proves equally essential. Hyenas answer that dominance with toughness, built for a land where nothing useful gets wasted. Their powerful maws effortlessly shatter skeletons, allowing them to consume much larger portions of every meal. They hunt and scavenger life, and that flexibility makes them dangerous when lions relax. Instantly sensing vulnerability, they relentlessly apply pressure to see if arrogant posturing will crumble into hesitation. Clan strength gives them another authority, because some groups here reach 70, even 80 members. They inundate the battlefield with bodies, cacophony, and boldness until the area feels completely overrun. Then endurance takes over, long chases, big hearts, and a pace that turns stamina into a weapon. Sustenance continuously fuels this bitter rivalry, since a fresh kill almost never remains with one group indefinitely. In Chobe, a kill can feel secure 1 minute and contested the next. The scavengers hijack roughly 63% of lion kills, a statistic that always feels deeply offensive. For a lion pride, losing meat is not just hunger, it is humiliation in public. Every attempted theft openly challenges the dominant lion's authority whenever they face intense limits.
Leopard's still up there, and I tell you,
Lions answer best when the pride stands together, locking a carcass down with organized force.
There, look how many birds.
all the dinner bells are ringing. If those lions don't arrive here,
Successfully guarding their catch clearly demonstrates that solid teamwork can withstand significantly larger enemy swarms.
Yeah, so that one.
Water holes sharpen the tension in dry season when the last pools keep shrinking.
And drop your second carcass now, Mr. Leopard.
Oh, is he working on it?
Severe dehydration eliminates physical boundaries, compelling bitter rivals to drink while watching each other closely. There, lions lean on brute force, while hyenas wait, crowd, and punish hesitation. These intense glares seem remarkably human, as initial surprise transitions into icy strategizing just before hostilities restart.
Anybody is coming.
None of this is random chaos, because Chobe stays balanced by rivals checking each other.
Cuts quick.
While sweltering temperatures rise from the vegetation, permanent victory remains elusive, and another violent eruption feels imminent. What happens after the kill is where Chobe gets ruthless, because dinner can become war before the first fight. Darkness envelops the savannah like a heavy drape, instantly magnifying the sound of each exhalation, footstep, and alarm. Darkness does not soften danger here. It sharpens scent, tightens nerves, and turns the whole plain into suspicion. The massive cats stride into the darkness like aggressive debt collectors, whereas the scavengers creep near like opportunists awaiting errors. The real question is never which animal looks tougher in daylight, but who can seize one fragile moment and keep it. Female hunters initiate the battle through silent stealth, scattering across the vegetation as though completely concealed by lunar shadows. They use shadow, wind, and every dip in the ground to creep within 50, sometimes 100 feet. Such incredible self-control is crucial. A single hasty movement or exposed outline will instantly scatter the panicked herd everywhere. A lion hunt only looks sudden to the victim because the real work happens in silence first. A single female might swing outward to squeeze the perimeter, whereas a partner creeps forward to seal the obvious exit. By then, the pride is not just chasing meat, it is trapping panic before panic can choose a path. Once the sudden ambush unleashes, the sheer might of these felines proves frighteningly straightforward and lethal. They drive for the neck, the hindquarters, or the belly, targeting the places where resistance collapses fastest. Silent strength transforms into brutal dominance instantly as sheer mass, sharp talons, and crushing jaws complete the ambush. Male lions usually stay near the edges of that drama, less like sprinters and more like armed security. The predators scan the shadows for competitors, foragers, and any motion indicating their kill might be challenged. Their size sends a message that the prize is claimed, but numbers can tear authority apart fast after sunset.
Sorry, guys.
Consequently, securing a meal in Chobe never brings tranquility, but merely serves as a fleeting, perilous interlude.
And sits up here. It's going to be...
Fresh blood carries on the night air, and the plains seem to whisper the news outward almost immediately. Before they can finally begin eating, the pride must immediately transition from stalkers into vigilant guards. Possession is fragile here because every victory throws up a flare that invites a second fight. The clan responds to this opening using entirely different battle tactics, being noisy, whereas felines remain quiet and outlasting their arrogant foes. They come in with whoops, cackles, pressure, and deliberate disruption, making the whole scene feel unstable on purpose. These vocalizations aren't just chaotic sounds, they rattle targets, irritate the big cats, and signal an impending confrontation. What sounds chaotic to us is often organized intimidation, a strategy built to thin confidence before teeth ever land. Swarming makes the clan exceptionally lethal as they dart forward, retreat, and loop around until every feline spins continuously. Their constant reaction stretches a defending pride thin and exposes the small gaps that matter around the carcass. Once the scavengers outnumber the big cats by double or triple, you practically witness the power dynamic shift instantly. Their patience may be even more dangerous than their aggression because they do not always attack at the hottest moment. They frequently hold back until the lions finish feeding, become sluggish, and lose their intense state of hypervigilance. They study fatigue, spacing, and pride size with a cold, practical intelligence that explains why so many takeovers succeed. A single scavenger is exposed, yet the whole group operates like an engine fueled by instinct, teeth, and persistence. They rotate pressure, test reactions, and punish hesitation from several directions until ownership starts to look expensive. When their numerical advantage approaches triple, even massive lions frequently find it difficult to defend their fresh catches. Still, lions remain terrifying when the pride is large, organized, and stubborn enough to stand shoulder to shoulder. Having at least 10 members allows them to protect vulnerabilities, withstand force, and counterattack without caving in entirely. In those moments, lion power stops being individual glory and becomes a disciplined wall of muscle and intent. This stark difference renders each clash truly memorable. The cats deliver explosive frontal assaults, while the clan utilizes stamina and unyielding teamwork. By dawn, both sides carry more than wounds, because every stolen kill, failed charge, and forced retreat becomes memory, strategy, and warning. Occasionally, the lions secure their meal. Other evenings, the scavengers snatch it, leaving the ultimate outcome for another dawn. What looks like a savage feud is really the hidden control system of the Savanna, because every collision between lions and hyenas reshapes who feeds, who flees, and what lives long enough to breathe. A hijacked kill is never merely stolen food, and one withdrawal creates ripple effects across local herds, vegetation, rival scavengers, and the next impending chase looming nearby. Lions help steady that system by taking buffalo, zebra, and impala that are weak, injured, old, isolated, or simply too slow to recover. Up close, this dynamic seems ruthless, yet it eliminates weak individuals, shortens prolonged agony, fortifies the group, and prevents herbivore populations from decimating local vegetation at an unsustainable pace. Then hyenas crash into that balance by tearing away hard-won meals, and when lions lose more than half a carcass, hunger pushes them back into hunting sooner than planned. This added stress becomes crucial during arid months, as targets are thoroughly exhausted by extreme temperatures and dehydration, forcing their typical foraging paths to detour away from threats. Competition has forced lions to evolve socially, not just physically, because muscle alone cannot protect dinner when a clan keeps testing the perimeter. In this reserve, groups of 10 to 15 lions protect meals more effectively, cover ground quicker, and teach their young early that solidarity isn't comfort, it's absolute survival. But bigger prides pay for that security with punishing appetite, because more defenders also mean more mouths to satisfy when prey thins and water disappears. The exact survival trait that safeguards a catch today might actually increase starvation risks. Once a severe dry spell plunges the entire ecosystem into extreme deprivation. Hyenas evolve in the opposite direction, sharpening coordination into a weapon that can shake even confident lions out of formation. Utilizing coordinated rhythm, loud sounds, fake lunges, and multi-directional flanking, they transform their vocalizations into tactical cues that reveal any lingering uncertainty near the contested meat. When their numbers climb to 3 times the lions, their nerve rises with them, and the balance of the confrontation can flip in plain sight. This explains why the spotted clan represents significantly more than mere opportunists, trailing behind dominant predators, hoping for discarded scraps to eventually drop. They are disciplined predators that read weakness fast, commit without ceremony, and convert scraps, bone, and leftovers into survival with almost no waste.
Maybe he smells like it.
By acting this way, they ensure nutrients continuously cycle throughout the habitat rather than allowing death to stagnate in just one spot.
Yeah, probably.
Ooh.
Herbivores feel this rivalry too, avoiding risky corridors, crowded waterholes, and familiar routes where predator tension keeps building day after day. Minor variations in herd movements alter which pastures naturally heal, while managing the consumption of vegetation allows tiny creatures, birds, and insects to survive alongside massive beasts. The land may look passive from a distance, but every blade of grass is answering predator decisions in slow, visible consequence. This ecological network appears most striking across the Serengeti Mara, spanning Kenya and Tanzania as a biological engine driven by mass movement, predation, foraging, and natural restoration. It feels timeless because the struggle keeps repeating, yet never in exactly the same pattern, and that is the real lesson. Lions and hyenas battle for more than meals. They maintain environmental harmony by preventing absolute dominance. And just past the closest migrating herd, this delicate equilibrium is facing another immediate threat. Nothing on Earth feels more alive or more merciless than the Great Migration surging through Serengeti Mara. In this landscape, precipitation dictates everything as every passing year restarts a similarly vicious cycle involving fresh starvation, peril, death, and eventual rebirth. Beauty never cancels cruelty here because the plains glow gold while quietly deciding which animals will endure. The equilibrium suddenly shifts once millions of wildebeests and zebras flood the open flatlands like an endless, continuously surging tide. Their arrival turns open country into contested ground packed with food, dust, noise, and the promise of violence. As morning breaks across the Masai Mara, sunlight exposes tracks, silhouettes, and movement, instantly shattering the calm. The herds create opportunity, but constant movement also tires the weak, separates the young, and exposes the injured. A single pause within that flowing mass instantly attracts all the hunters lurking on the sidelines. Lions answer with sudden force, hidden in tall grass until panic, angle, and timing align in one violent opening. Winning relies on remaining unseen before launching a final, overwhelming sprint that crushes any struggle right away. An adult lion can drop a wildebeest with one precise attack, changing the mood of the plains before contact. Hyenas tackle this exact battleground, utilizing a calculating approach rooted in stamina, continuous stress, and unending chases. They do not need a perfect ambush, only enough miles and enough patience for speed to decay into weakness. As herds travel, clan strategies become increasingly deadly since unsettling vocalizations distract the prey and sheer volume quickly traps strays. The great herds feed both predators, but they also drag lions and hyenas into repeated tests of nerve. The rival groups fixate on the exact same injured beast, dead body, an incredibly brief window for success. Hooves churn the ground into dust clouds that hide movement until the last second and make every clash feel enormous. Amid the chaos, raw reflexes, strict control, and bravery dictate who triumphs and who ultimately fails. No single kill settles anything because a successful hunt can become a defense, a theft attempt, or another chase minutes later. This continuous cycle exposes the plain's underlying nature, big cats representing surprise and dominance, clans embodying endurance and teamwork. In Serengeti, Mara, every creature plays a role. The weak fall, the strong feed, and the grasslands never pause. When the prey migrates, the hunters pursue them, pushing this unending drama toward an upcoming battle just out of sight. The Masai Mara looks balanced until nomadic lions appear and turn every familiar boundary into a rumor. Instantly, the dispute expands beyond local groups, turning into a broader battle fueled by roaming strangers with nothing to lose. Their silhouettes on the horizon make the plains feel temporary, as if power itself has started moving. These adolescent males survive on the fringes of their social structure, completely lacking families, daily routines, or reliable protection. They wander through contested country, reading weakness, the way storm fronts read pressure in open sky. Such extreme solitude leaves them exposed, yet it simultaneously renders their behavior highly erratic. For resident prides, the danger is immediate, because aging males become targets the moment nomads start testing resolve. Even if an assault fails, the trauma persists through heightened anxiety, extra guard duties, and agitated females. Mothers hide cubs deeper, hunters move tighter, and sleep becomes lighter across the whole territory. Once wandering drifters finally conquer a territory, the transition proves violently swift and unforgettable for surrounding wildlife. Old rulers are driven out by force, timing, and relentless pressure that never allows a clean recovery. Offspring frequently perish during the upheaval, dealing a devastating blow straight to the group's long-term survival. The pride survives sometimes, but it never steps out of a takeover as the same family. In the aftermath, females must reunite, treat wounds, and aggressively guard any remaining security. That recovery period weakens hunting rhythm, blurs coordination, and chips away at the confidence that once held ground. Previously secure land starts to reveal vulnerabilities near dead prey, regular boundary walks, and typical sleeping areas. Hyenas read those gaps almost immediately because they do not need total victory to gain real ground. They merely require a single vulnerability, a poor defense, or an unfocused family trying to heal. Clan scouts start probing boundaries, kills, and travel lanes with growing boldness and almost clinical patience. An unsettled family group might experience intense stress well before realizing just how vulnerable they are. Large hyena clans turn that pressure into influence, especially when 50 or more bodies flood the same space. Superior sizes, loud vocalizations, and relentless lingering allow them to encroach on previously undisputed feline territories. Water sources become the most dangerous points because thirst drags every species into the open. Scavengers advance not merely through hostility, but via brutal effectiveness whenever lion dominance begins to falter. They hunt well, steal unattended kills, and strip nearly every useful part from a carcass. During incredibly arid periods, this adaptability transforms from a simple benefit into a truly lethal. Still, healthy lions can reverse the mood of the plains in a single hard display. Powerful grown males bring back security to boundaries, primary resting areas, and strictly guarded recent meals. When a pride is organized, hyena waves meet a wall instead of a weakness. These withdrawals stem not from mere terror, but from a rational assessment that the price is now unacceptable. The rivalry leaves scars everywhere, from abandoned feeding sites to broken formations and nervous movement patterns. Every unsuccessful ambush, withdrawal, and tense confrontation engraves new lessons into both rival hunters. And the consequences do not stop with lions and hyenas, because prey species pay for these shifts too. As lion populations decline, scavenger clans multiply rapidly, exerting greater hunting pressure on tiny grazers like Thompson's gazelles. Predator drama becomes ecosystem pressure, changing who feeds, who survives, and where risk starts collecting. Certain large grazing mammals might entirely avoid regions whenever scavenger populations become exceptionally concentrated there. Those route changes can disrupt feeding pressure, trampling patterns, and nutrient movement across the mara. A 2024 publication cautioned that surging scavenger populations in specific regions could slash tiny grazer numbers by up to 20% over 5 years. That means fewer grazers, different grass heights, shifting plant spread, and a savanna physically reshaped by rivalry.
Links in the description below. Stay safe. If you want to see more of these flashbacks,
ultimately, the fundamental reality is that the reserve thrives on continuous friction rather than enduring dominance, and just past the next herd, another wandering challenger is already arriving. East Africa does not introduce itself gently. It opens like a memory older than civilization itself. Beneath expansive azure heavens, eastern Miombo forests stretch across the terrain, resembling a concealed empire founded entirely on perseverance and existence. This is no quiet backdrop, because every tree, bird, grazer, and hunter is carrying part of the same living system. Immediately, the surrounding environment communicates that this narrative centers around incredible stamina, strict equilibrium, and completely unending movement. The Miombo woodland set that stage with towering brachystegia trees, rising more than 50 feet above the dry earth. Their broad canopies offer crucial shadows where extreme heat would otherwise brutally dominate. In the harsh season, their leaves flare orange and gold, turning stress into something almost beautiful enough to fool you. Despite the weak dirt, organisms pack together tenaciously in this area, demonstrating that endurance remains an ancient African specialty. Then the story tightens, because farther north in Tanzania, the land seems to hide an even greater secret. Ngorongoro crater resembles a rocky, enclosed realm, looking more like an inescapable stronghold for nature than a mere travel stop. The shift feels immediate and almost unnerving, as if you have crossed into a place too complete to be accidental. The location's majesty stems from its creation over 2 million years past, when a collapsed volcano etched ancient history directly into the ground. That bowl-shaped caldera locks water, grassland, forest, and wildlife into one intensely connected arena. This outcome seems simultaneously sheltered and vulnerable, since all creatures coexist here while every battle plays out in clear sight. Scale makes it even more astonishing. Spanning approximately 100 square miles, this depression somehow contains a density of wildlife that initially seems absolutely unbelievable. Cliffs, more than 2,000 feet high, rise around the floor like walls built by the planet itself. Such sheer inclines effectively maintain one of the most tightly packed animal populations in all of Africa. From above, the crater hardly looks real. Lush grasslands stretch outward, broken up by deep wooded areas and brilliant glimmers of water that instantly grab your attention. It resembles a painting, but nothing here is decorative, because every inch of beauty is doing ecological work. Right in the middle, Lake Magadi gleams brightly beneath the sunlight like buffed steel. Its soda water throws back a hard, reflective glow, and thousands of flamingos wash the shoreline in electric pink. While bringing grace to the area, these creatures demonstrate how uniquely adapted organisms can inhabit severely basic aquatic environments. Around the lake, fever trees lean over the margins with pale trunks and soft green canopies. This canopy provides cover for birds, tiny mammals, and massive beasts lingering near the shoreline amid danger and comfort. Those quiet borders soften the harder parts of the crater and stitch wetland to woodland with surprising grace. However, the sheer volume of wildlife remains the most staggering revelation. More than 25,000 large mammals live inside this enclosed world, and that number changes the emotional weight of every view. No spot seems deserted, since an animal is perpetually eating, observing, traversing, or getting ready to flee. Wildebeests and plains, zebras dominate the grasslands in restless waves that keep the crater floor in constant motion. These groups hunt for new pastures, collectively bringing a vibrant energy to the entire valley from one edge to the other. That abundance feeds predators and scavengers, but it also keeps the land itself working. The stomping of wildebeest churns the dirt to help seeds sprout post-rainfall, and their waste ultimately returns vital minerals to the earth. Zebras crop tougher grasses and open room for other grazers behind them, turning appetite into ring. This reveals Ngorongoro's profound reality. Equilibrium does not mean tranquility, but rather an endless, stressful give and take. Trees, lake water, grazers, birds, and predators keep one another alive here, and inside this ancient caldera, survival is always shared. Ngorongoro begins this tale as a lethal Eden, acting as a stunning snare where plentiful resources and deadly threats constantly intertwine. On one side of the crater, buffaloes pushing 2,000 pounds hold formation like living barricades, grazing slow while every lifted head warns that trouble is close. This creates the region's main allure, since absolute security is always fleeting, despite the valley bursting with so many creatures. At first glance, the crater feels generous, packed with low grasslands, seasonal water, and yellow fever tree forests that seem built to feed everything. Yet, this volcanic depression proves highly perilous by providing both clear sightlines and hiding spots, ensuring all actions count and any pause becomes obvious. The same richness that sustains the herds also drags every serious predator into the same tight arena. That explains why Ngorongoro transforms from a pretty landscape into a highly suspenseful environment. It holds an unusually dense concentration of carnivores in a small enclosed world, so one trail can cross another hunter's path without warning. Catching prey fails to conclude the anxiety, since a newly slain carcass might spark another violent conflict long before the dirt stops swirling. The crater feels less like open wilderness than a crowded battlefield with no true silence. Before the primary conflict grabs the spotlight, other carnivores establish a steady tempo of terror. Near the forests by the lake, leopards move through branch and shadow so clearly they seem to appear only after the ambush has already begun. Across the open grasslands, cheetahs sprint toward gazelles so incredibly fast that the earth practically seems to be shooting a projectile. They add pressure to every hoofbeat, but they also prepare the eye for the heavier powers still coming. Once the lions arrive on the scene, the complete equilibrium of the basin changes entirely. Ngorongoro holds the highest lion density on Earth, with roughly 60 to 70 lions compressed into this single ecosystem. While their gaze targets roaming zebras and wildebeests, the lion's impact reaches significantly past a single pursuit. Once lions are in frame, the story is no longer just about feeding, it becomes about control. Dark-haired males wander through the vegetation, acting as mobile threat alerts, transforming public plains into lands that abruptly seem strictly claimed. Their clashes with rivals are not random bursts of violence, but public declarations over space, access, and dominance. Even before striking, their massive size, stance, and sheer arrogance compel rival meat-eaters to rethink their chances. Yet the real strategic engine of lion power is the lioness. The female calculates group dynamics, geography, and pacing with chilling accuracy, swiftly changing utter silence into a burst of chaotic frenzy. That discipline makes the lions feel like the protagonists of force, organized, efficient, and brutally hard to challenge head-on. However, this region rarely remains under a single ruler for extended periods, and hyenas present the initial massive obstacle. Spotted hyenas shadow the hunts with eerie calls, waiting for weakness, delay, or one distracted second that changes possession. Lacking the graceful nature of an attacking lion, these scavengers rely primarily on relentless endurance, intimidation, and impeccable timing instead. A completed kill becomes a new test the instant they arrive, because in this crater holding food matters more than taking it first. This dynamic renders the ongoing hyena-lion conflict incredibly captivating, as both factions showcase unique forms of dominance rather than any vulnerability. Lions dominate through ambush, intimidation, and brute force that can break resistance almost on contact. Hyenas reply, utilizing endurance, surrounding tactics, and unyielding pack intimidation, converting sheer fatigue into a clear advantage. Even so, Ngorongoro favors lions more harshly than many other regions, and that creates near impossible pressure for hyenas. In this region, big cats might steal roughly 71% of the kills that hyenas successfully secure, transforming a hard-fought victory into crushing disappointment. A pride backed by strong males can overpower even large hyena clans through sheer physical advantage and territorial certainty. The scavengers refuse to yield to this intense stress, however, which initiates their remarkable evolution. They target migratory wildebeests and zebras, wearing them down through persistence, tightening circles, and the slow violence of endurance. As threats escalate, they create defensive circles around food or weak individuals, letting out eerie shrieks to gather backup and reinforce group resolve. Still, lions keep the final edge here, causing roughly 60 to 70% of adult hyena deaths in the crater by isolating weaker animals and striking before group defense fully closes. Such viciousness influences the entire environment, altering predatory routines, foraging demands, and boundary disputes. Should the cats become overly powerful, the clan must back away, adjust, or seek easier territories far past the edge. So, Ngorongoro closes this chapter with a warning instead of peace. because inside this magnificent caldera balance survives only as long as the struggle does.